February 19th, 1945, Iwo Jima. The ocean behind them is calm, too calm for what's about to happen. Ahead lies 8 square miles of black volcanic sand, soft, sinking, and already soaked in blood. The Marines don't know it yet, but this island will become one of the deadliest battlegrounds in American history. As the landing ramps drop, there is no immediate gunfire, no explosions, no screaming, just silence. And that silence is wrong, because the Japanese are not on the beaches. They are underground. Minutes later, the island comes alive. Machine gun fire erupts from hidden bunkers. Mortars slam into the beach. Marines fall before they can even raise their rifles. The sand offers no cover. Every step sinks. Every second costs lives. Pinned down, exposed, trapped. And that's when one Marine realizes something terrifying. Their weapons aren't enough. The Japanese defenses on Iwo Jima are unlike anything the Marines have ever faced. Bunkers reinforced with steel and concrete, gun ports no wider than a helmet, interlocking fields of fire designed to trap attackers in kill zones. Rifles bounce uselessly off bunker walls, grenades roll back down slopes, flamethrowers get cut down before they get close. Progress slows to inches, bodies pile up. And somewhere in the smoke, a Marine stares at a weapon lying nearby, a weapon never meant to be carried by a man. It's an aircraft machine gun, heavy, long, designed to be bolted inside a fighter plane, firing thousands of rounds per minute at enemy aircraft, not for beaches, not for bunkers, and definitely not for one man to lift. But in war, necessity doesn't ask permission. The Marine knows what he's risking. The gun is massive, far heavier than any infantry weapon. Its recoil is brutal. Its ammunition alone weighs more than a rifle. Carrying it means moving slower, standing taller, becoming a target. But doing nothing means watching more Marines die. So he makes a decision that will turn him into a legend. Under fire, he drags the aircraft gun through the sand. Rounds snap past his head, dirt explodes around him, the gun sinks into the black ash, forcing him to haul it free again and again. Every Marine nearby thinks the same thing. This man is insane. But they follow him anyway, because insane might be the only thing that works. He reaches a rise overlooking a Japanese bunker. The bunker has already killed dozens. Every attempt to silence it has failed. The Marine plants his feet in the unstable sand. He braces the gun against his body. There is no mount, no stabilization, just raw strength and will. He squeezes the trigger. The sound is deafening, not the sharp crack of rifle fire, but a continuous tearing roar. The aircraft gun spits rounds at a rate never meant for ground combat. The recoil nearly knocks him backward, but he holds on. The bunker's firing slit vanishes in a storm of steel. Concrete shatters, sand erupts, the gunfire inside the bunker stops. Suddenly, silence. Not the wrong silence from earlier, the right kind. Marines around him freeze. Then, they move. They surge forward, using the destroyed bunker as cover. For the first time since landing, the line advances. The impossible has just happened. One man has turned an aircraft gun into a handheld weapon of destruction and cracked open the Japanese defenses. But the battle isn't over. The Marine lifts the gun again. Every step forward is agony. The weight tears at his arms. The barrel burns hot. Sweat mixes with ash on his face. He is exhausted, and still he keeps moving. Another bunker opens fire. Same problem, same deadly accuracy. The Marine doesn't hesitate. He sets up again, fires again. The aircraft gun roars, and once more the bunker goes silent.
Word spreads fast on the battlefield. There's a Marine walking the line with an aircraft gun, a one-man assault team. Where he goes, bunkers fall. Where bunkers fall, Marines live. The Japanese defenders had planned Iwo Jima as a war of attrition. They expected the Americans to bleed for every yard. They never planned for a Marine who would rewrite the rules of combat on the fly. By the end of the day, the black sand is covered in shell casings and shattered concrete. The Marine finally lowers the gun. His arms are numb, his body is shaking, his ears ring from hours of unprotected fire. But behind him, Marines are alive who shouldn't be. Ahead of him, ground has been taken that was supposed to be impossible. Iwo Jima will rage on for weeks. Nearly 7,000 Americans will die. More than 20,000 Japanese defenders will be killed. But in the middle of that hell, one moment stands out. One Marine, one impossible weapon, one decision that changed everything around him. He didn't do it for glory. He didn't do it to be remembered. He did it because the men around him were dying, and he refused to let that be the end of the story. Today, his name is spoken quietly among Marines, not as a myth, but as a reminder that sometimes the difference between defeat and survival is one person willing to pick up what was never meant to be carried and walk straight into hell with it.
The aircraft gun is finally silent. Its barrel glows faintly in the smoke-filled air, heat shimmering above it like a warning. The Marine lowers it slowly, his hands trembling, not from fear, but from exhaustion. Around him, the beach has changed. What was once a killing field is now a foothold. Not victory, but survival. The Japanese defenses are still there. Hundreds of bunkers, miles of tunnels, entire units waiting underground, listening, counting footsteps. They have not broken, but something has changed. For the first time since landing on Iwo Jima, the Marines believe the island can be taken, and that belief is dangerous. The Marine doesn't rest long. There is no time. More bunkers open fire farther inland, cutting down another advance. The terrain is worse now. Steep slopes, loose volcanic ash, jagged rock. Every inch forward feels like climbing a mountain under a storm of bullets. Someone shouts his name, points. Another bunker. The aircraft gun is lifted again. By now, everyone understands what this means. When he moves, Marines move behind him. When he stops, they stop. He has become something more than a rifleman. He has become momentum. Each step forward costs him more. The gun digs into his shoulder. The sling cuts into his back. The ammunition belt tugs downward, threatening to pull the weapon from his hands. There is no training manual for this, no doctrine, just instinct. The next bunker is smarter. It waits. As the Marine moves into position, a second gun opens fire from the flank. Dirt explodes around him. A round punches through his pack. He stumbles. For a split second, the gun nearly slips from his grip. That's all death needs. Marines yell. Someone fires smoke. Another throws grenades to draw fire. The Marine regains his footing and turns the aircraft gun, not at the bunker ahead, but at the one that tried to kill him. He fires. The roar cuts through everything. The flank goes silent. He swings the gun back. The main bunker fires once more, then disappears under a flood of rounds. Concrete caves in. The firing slit collapses. The earth itself seems to surrender. 2 bunkers, 1 Marine, minutes apart. The Japanese defenders are disciplined, brave, determined, but even they cannot adapt fast enough to something that shouldn't exist. An aircraft weapon, on the ground, walking toward them. By afternoon, the Marine is barely functioning. His hands are blistered raw. His shoulders feel torn from their sockets. His throat burns from breathing dust and cordite. He hasn't eaten. He hasn't slept.
He doesn't even know how many bunkers he's silenced, only that every time he stops, more Marines die. So he keeps going. Somewhere above, American ships continue pounding the island. Planes scream overhead, but the real battle is still here, at ground level, measured in yards and heartbeats. And the aircraft gun keeps roaring. At one position, the Marine reaches a point where the terrain drops sharply. Below him is a network of bunkers layered like steps, each covering the other. A textbook kill zone. No safe approach. This is where advances usually stop. This is where units get wiped out. He looks down, then forward, then tightens his grip. He fires while moving, not stopping, not bracing, walking fire straight down the slope. The recoil batters his body. The gun bucks wildly. Accuracy becomes instinct. The effect is devastating. The bunkers never get a clean shot. Their fields of fire collapse under sheer volume. Marines follow, stunned by what they're seeing. By sunset, that section of the island is secured. Not cleared, secured. A miracle by Iwo Jima standards. Only later does the Marine finally collapse. Not wounded, just empty. Medics reach him. Someone tries to take the gun. He doesn't let go at first. His fingers are locked around it like it's part of him now. When he finally releases it, his hands won't stop shaking. The aircraft gun lies in the sand again, but it's different now. It's not just a weapon, it's a symbol. The battle for Iwo Jima will grind on, hill by hill, cave by cave, man by man. The Marines will pay for every inch, but the story of that day spreads, quietly, through foxholes, through whispers. There was a Marine. He picked up an aircraft gun, and the island couldn't stop him. Years later, people will struggle to understand it. They'll talk about weight limits, recoil, logistics. They'll ask how it was even possible. But Marines who were there already know the answer. It wasn't about strength. It was about refusal. Refusal to stay pinned down. Refusal to accept that the enemy had built something unbeatable. Refusal to watch brothers die when there was anything left to try. On Iwo Jima, courage didn't always look like charging forward with a rifle. Sometimes it looked like lifting the impossible and walking straight into fire.
The island finally falls silent weeks later. Not peaceful silence, just the kind that comes after everything that could scream already has. Iwo Jima is no longer a battlefield. It is a graveyard. Black sand still churned by boots, shattered bunkers torn open like broken teeth, the smell of smoke and death clinging to everything. Victory has been claimed, but no one celebrates. The Marine survives. Barely. Like so many others, he leaves the island carrying wounds you can't see. His body heals, his hands stop shaking, his hearing slowly returns. But Iwo Jima never really lets go. Back home, the war continues without him. There are no parades for moments like his, no speeches about the aircraft gun carried through volcanic sand, no official doctrine rewritten because of one desperate act. The Marine doesn't talk much about it anyway. When asked, he shrugs. He did what anyone would have done, which is the lie all heroes tell. Among the men who were there, the story lives on. Not exaggerated, not glorified, just passed quietly from one Marine to another, about a moment when the battle stopped making sense and one man decided to stop playing by the rules. Military historians will later study Iwo Jima and focus on strategy, naval bombardments, air superiority, logistics. All of it matters, but none of it explains how battles actually turn. Because battles don't turn on maps, they turn in seconds, in choices. On Iwo Jima, Japanese defenses were engineered to be unbeatable, designed to bleed attackers dry.
They accounted for firepower, for numbers, for courage. What they didn't account for was improvisation driven by desperation. They didn't plan for a Marine who would look at an aircraft gun and see not a machine, but a chance. That moment didn't win the battle, but it saved lives. And in war, that's everything. Today, Iwo Jima is quiet. Visitors walk its beaches. The black sand still clings to boots. The wind moves gently across the island. Most people never realize what happened there. And that's okay, because the real legacy of that Marine isn't a name carved in stone. It's the idea that when everything fails, when the manuals end, when survival is measured in seconds, someone can still step forward, lift the impossible, and change the moment. War is often remembered through generals and flags and victory speeches, but it is shaped by individuals who never planned to be remembered at all. On Iwo Jima, one Marine turned an aircraft gun into a handheld killer, not because he was fearless, but because fear left him no other choice. And sometimes, that's how history really moves.